All right, guys, so coming at you today with my top 3 favorite tricep exercises. And again, I'm not gonna say they are the best, but I'll say they are a great place to start. And so with all of them, I'm gonna give you little variations of every single one. So the one I'm gonna demo today is my absolute favorite variation because I think it will fit the most people and it will also be the most taxing and the most efficient. Now, if you don't have the exact same setup that I do here, of course you can do other variations. So my number one favorite kind of mass builder for triceps is this close grip Swiss bar press with chains. So first off, I know this is a little bit of a specialty bar. If you don't have this bar, it's not a big deal. This is just gonna fit most people better. And again, Terrence is a perfect example. He's got wide shoulders, and when he tries to get his palms turned all the way down, his elbows really flare out with a straight bar. So when he has his hands more neutral, you can see what that does. Just as you turn your hands more neutral, it allows you to keep that elbow tucked in and stacked basically right underneath the hand the whole time, which I would say is a little bit of a safer, healthier position for the elbows. So anyway, first variation, if you don't have this bar, you can absolutely use a straight bar. And if you're one of those people that you can keep your elbows tucked while your hands are on a straight bar, it's a perfectly fine option. From there, chains or bands. I'm not going to do a whole video about the profile of this exercise, but most pressing movements are what's called an ascending profile. So again, what the resistance profile means of this and what the body is, what you're capable of doing, the strength profile of press means you are the appearance of much stronger at the top. So everyone can handle a lot more weight at the top than they can at the bottom. And that is the whole points of chains, the whole points of bands properly set up is to make more weight at the top where you're capable of doing more, and then conversely lighter at the bottom where you can tolerate that as well too. And again, just as a nice added benefit, this tends to feel really comfortable on people's shoulder joints at the bottom. And again, as they come to the top and they're stronger, they're getting in a position where it's a little bit safer, a little bit more comfortable on the shoulder anyway as they're coming into that more load. And then again, really overloads those triceps as we're coming into the lockout. Last little form tip before we just watch Terrence smash a set here. It's just when you're bringing the bar down, anytime you're doing a press, the shoulder joint is involved. So this is still gonna involve the front delt, it's still gonna involve the chest to a certain degree. If you wanna make it more triceps, instead of keeping the hand lined up directly over the elbow, you can actually bring it a little bit closer to the shoulder. So as you're bringing it down, instead of keeping it stacked, feel like you're bringing the bar a little bit closer to your shoulder joint or feel like maybe your collarbone. So when you're coming down, you could literally bring it a little bit more like this, maybe not this dramatic, but even somewhere like this is gonna make it more triceps, whereas if it's stacked right over the elbow, it's gonna be a little bit more shoulders. And again, that's kind of, sounds almost contradicting what I was saying too, but you wanna make sure everything stays in plane. So again, with the grip and everything, even if you bring your hand here, you're still basically in the same plane, your hand with your elbow, where again, if your elbow flares out, then you're not in the same plane of motion. So Terrence is gonna smash a set here, show us how it's done.
One.
Yep. Your bar. Good, control that negative, right in plane. Good, come on. Go, 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 finish. Good. And hopefully those chains make sense to you guys so you can see when Terrence is at the bottom, the chains are resting on the ground. He's got, I don't know how much we've got on here. He's got 220 pounds in weight. I think the bar is 40 pounds-ish. So about 260 at the bottom. And as he's coming up to the top, these chains total weigh about 120 pounds. So as he gets to the top, so that's 60, that's 60. As he gets to the top, he's got close to whatever math that is. I forgot the number I said in the first place. Close to 380 at the top, somewhere probably a little bit less than that. And so that's the point. He's capable of obviously doing 260 pounds or so at the bottom very easily. But if he came to the top, he'd basically be under training what he's capable of doing. So those chains come on, they lift off the ground, and he's lifting more and more weight through the range of motion until it is the heaviest at the top. So again, probably my favorite one. We prioritize triceps with tricep workouts every single session. And again, don't worry, if you don't got the chains, if you don't have the bands, it's still a very beneficial exercise just with the weight, just a normal close grip press. But I would say this is the most efficient exercise option if you have the equipment available. All right, guys, so my second favorite movement or my second top pick for triceps is going to be dips. Now again, I'm gonna show you a specific variation because I think this variation is more efficient than a standard dip. That being said, I'm aware that not everyone has chains. You could do a similar setup with bands if you do it properly. The only reason I'm going to show changes is, again, it's a little bit more efficient of a movement. Again, the strength profile of a pressing movement, most pressing movements, is you have the appearance of being much stronger at the top, can handle much more load at the top. So why not use more load at the top and match what your body can do at the bottom? So if you pay attention when Bryce actually does a set in a minute, you'll see the chains, most of them sit on the ground at the bottom. So in that case, he's doing his body weight, maybe plus a little bit of chain weight. And as he comes up right from the bottom and the chains pick up off the ground, it's going to get extremely heavy as he comes to the top of the range of motion. But again, if you don't have chains, normal dips are great. Obviously, if you're strong, doing dips with weight around your waist is a great option as well too. As far as a couple form tips go here, big thing again, I think a lot of people miss is just upper back stability. So especially when you're in the bottom of the motion, you really want to kind of feel your shoulder blades pulling back and together, and you want to avoid them really elevating a whole lot. It's fine if they move up a little bit, but if you get to the point where your shoulder starts to roll forward, that's probably one of the most common mistakes that I see people make. And the same thing, listen to your range of motion. I mean, if you can bring them pretty low and do all that stuff, shoulder blades kind of pull back and together, great. But if you start to go so low that your shoulders roll forward, that's kind of one of the most common mistakes. And the last little tip I'll give, if you're trying to feel these more in your triceps as opposed to chest and to shoulders, when you break the motion, so meaning right when you start, feel like you're pushing your elbows back a little bit more. So if you push your elbows back first and let that hand come a little bit more below your shoulder joint as opposed to this, it'll help bias your triceps a little bit more. But same as with close grip press, a lot of front delt, a lot of chest work in here, and that's fine as well too. But that's just one little tip to help feel your triceps a little bit more. And now we're gonna watch Bryce do some work. What you can also see there that is a beauty of using the chains is lots of times when you do dips, most of you guys will find out the bottom is the hard part and just kind of pop to the top. And especially that can be a great place to focus on that tricep extension and locking out hard. You'll see when Bryce is on all of his reps, but especially those last few grinders, instead of just popping to the top, it is just as slow and as brutal as it is from the bottom, which again is really going to make sure you're challenging yourself through that full range of motion. Again, all this chain band stuff, all that, it's about efficiency. I would say this is a much more efficient option than just using body weight or with weights. And again, I know I'm going to have some people ask, so I always try and say it everywhere. This little thing here is called a daisy chain. You can buy them on Amazon. Just search daisy chain. They are cheap. They are actually designed for rock climbing. They're normally tested to something absurd like 5,000 pounds. So it can be a really easy option. It's actually, it looks mildly complicated, but it's not. And that allows you to adjust where the chains actually come on and come off. Meaning if he had it hooked all the way to the top of the belt, he might just be using the weight of the chains the entire reps or the entire range of motion. And now by putting those there, he can have them all sitting on the ground at the bottom and have them come on as he comes to the top. All right, guys, so my third of my top 3 favorite exercises for triceps is going to be a cable cross extension. Now again, compared to the other 2 people are gonna be like, why the heck are you gonna have a cable as a mass builder? And I wanna say before we even show this, if they fit you well, skull crusher variations are probably going to be one of my top choices. So again, if you can actually fit with a cambered bar or a dumbbell, that is a very great exercise. I want something that actually isolates at the elbow joint, so isolates elbow extension. The other 2 are compound movements. The reason I choose this and would put this above skull crushers for most people is that, again, if I'm talking to a room of 100 people, this is gonna fit more people. Whereas a skull crusher, especially someone like Terrence, when Terrence is a skull crusher, his arms point out like this. And again, that's one of the things, again, gravity only works this way. So I wanna keep the upper arm and that elbow working right in plane. So if he does skull crushers over and over and over and over, with him, it's not even theoretical, it just starts to wreck his elbows. And so for a lot of people at home, you know, even if you're doing skull crushers and your arms point out, and you say, oh, this isn't too bad, it's one of those things that's gonna be an overuse injury or an overuse issue, so you might not notice it till essentially it's too late. So the reason I like cables is because if you look at the pattern of how it loads, it's extremely heavy through here if you set up properly, just like a tricep extension, like a skull crusher, and gets lighter here. Again, same as a skull crusher as far as where that cable is relative to your joint. But this is gonna fit a lot more people. So when they're crossed, what we're gonna have you guys look at when he's going is that the cable is basically right in line with his upper arm. So that's the whole point of cables, is you can cross them, you can make that cable line up with your upper arm and through your elbow joint. Or again, if you're using a dumbbell, for the most part, you don't have that option because gravity only goes straight up and down. So Terrence is gonna demo a couple reps here. If you guys are wondering, we got these cuffs because these are a little bit more comfortable to hold. So you see Terrence puts his hand in here, squeezes the cuff like that, has all the pressure against the butt of his hand. Or if you guys have tried to grab the cable or grab a rope, it's not horrible, but when you get to using a little bit heavier weight, these cuffs can be a nice convenient option. They're just wrist cuffs, get them on Amazon, wherever you want to get them. So he's gonna grab them, he's gonna cross them. Then same for any exercise, he's locking his body in stone. So you can see the tightness in his upper back here. His upper back's not moving, his upper arm is not moving. And you can see, if you see where that cable goes, you can see pretty much how it lines up right through his upper arm. And it's gonna be a lot healthier on his elbow joint. Same as anything else, any tricep exercise, notice how still everything is. So it's just his lower arm, just his elbow moving. Nice controlled pace, contracting hard through to the finish. And again, if you guys ever have elbow pain with skull crushers, tricep extensions, anything with a fixed bar, this might be a great option to put in there for you. All right, guys, so that is it, my top 3 for triceps. And again, those are just a great place to start. I'm not excluding any other tricep exercises, not implying that they aren't good exercises, but those would be 3 great places to start with your tricep workouts. And again, what should you do with those movements? Those are ones that you should progress. Progress your form. Everyone's form can get better. Progress your loads. Everyone can get stronger. And progress your ability to take sets further. So those are 3 great movements. If you do those 3 things within those 3 movements, eventually you are going to have some big triceps. So if this was helpful, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button, and send it to anybody you know with small triceps. Send it to your buddies, your mom. Your mom's triceps are horrible. So send them to her. And yeah, if you guys like it, leave some comments below. You got some questions, comments below. And if you're one of those people that's grumpy about everything on YouTube, leave some comments below. If it helps you feel better, I'm happy to help any way that I can.